Greetings, Barbara E. Ringrose. I'm the founder of Wow Women Optimizing Women, and I invite you to take a look at our website at wowwomenus.com. Each season or so, we invite one of our Wow members to join us. And today we have Tina Miller, who is both the founder and executive director of a local nonprofit called Action for Kindness. And today we're going to review some interesting things about Tina and what she does. You'll be able to visit her as a member on our member directory at the wowwomenus.com directory on the website. And you'll also be able to view our other members there as well. Please communicate with her. You can send her an email. It's so easy to do at wowwomenus.com, our member directory. And thank you all for joining us here on the YouTube channel. Good afternoon to you, Tina. How are you doing?
Hi, Barbara. I'm doing well. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful, special. So we've met on and off throughout the years, networking at the same chamber events, so many different things happening in the community. And over the years, both of us have grown so much, both myself with Wow and my podcast, Optimize Her too, and also with you and Action for Kindness. I'd love for you to talk about how you got involved in this project.
Well, Action for Kindness is a result of our making sure that donations that were being given to us as we were out and about inspiring kindness with our Be Kind signs and our Infinite Love hearts, that those donations, we were good stewards of them. And so we started the nonprofit Action for Kindness to make sure that we were giving back to the community that was giving so much to us. We're grateful that we can do that.
And I'm searching here on my desk. I had a bunch of those little hearts that you had given to me, and I may have passed out some of my last hearts. They were so cute.
Oh, then you understood the assignment. Good job.
What gave you the idea to create these hearts? They're adorable.
Well, when I first met my guy, he's a custom woodworker, and he was giving out Teach Peace and Be Kind stickers. And then, yeah, there you go. And then after we started dating, he went to Michael's to get wood letters for a sign, and he saw these hearts, and these wooden hearts. And he said, Tina, I want to give out these wooden hearts. They're more tangible. Wood holds positive energy. So he painted it red, put the infinity symbol on it, and said, Tina, what should we call our project? And I said, Infinite Love Project. And so it began. We started putting a little stamp on the back, and we just handed them out everywhere we went, just to give people a smile or as a token of kindness, not expecting anything in return. And the connections that we made are so memorable. People will still years later tell us where they keep that one heart or how they gave it out and then they got more to give out. So we're grateful that we were able to begin that social movement, so to speak. And then a couple years later, after one too many hurtful, hateful stories in the news of people being ugly to each other, Eric's like, we are better than this. So he took some leftover letters and leftover plywood, spray painted it on our porch, put it up on a pole by our house, and the business of kindness began with the signs. The first shape was the rectangle shape, and then within a week, he made the crayon shape that you see behind me. And he put it on a pole overlooking the middle school where he had been bullied. So it was really cathartic for him.
Aww.
And then in the meantime, our yoga and music friends are like, we'll buy a sign. We'll put it on our porch. We'll put it on our fence. We'll gift it to a teacher. We'll put it on a pole by our house. And we've been grateful that especially the people in the state of Maryland where we started and Carroll County, Westminster, have really embraced this project in helping inspire kindness with the hearts and the signs.
Yeah, that's interesting. And sometimes we do need a visible sign to remind us of how to behave. It seems that in our society, the social graces have fallen to the wayside. Etiquette, how to extend a thank you, even saying a simple thank you or please to people, that has gone to the wayside. And this is one step closer to get people to realize, hey, we do need to interact with other people, and we can do it in very nice, pleasant ways. And your Be Kind signs, I think, are amazing. I see them all over.
Thank you. Yeah, what we say is everything works better when you're around kind and compassionate people. That kindness begins within, and sometimes we need a reminder just to see a sign.
I think so too. I think the more that we talk about things like this too, regardless of your background, your upbringing, what part of the country from, or maybe another country that you're from, sometimes the mores of the community, sometimes the education, the backgrounds that people have, the cultures they haven't told them about these social graces, if you will, and by just having a visible, that's a reminder to everyone, regardless of where you are on the socioeconomic level or what culture you're from. Just
Oh.
it's a little quick reminder. Okay, I need to remember that. I like it. It's a nice gift too, isn't it?
It is, it does make a wonderful gift. People have gratefully bought 1, 2, or 3 for their house, and then 3, 4, 5 more to, gift to people.
That is so cool. So you have a website and you built this
Mhm.
nonprofit. Where did all of this insight come from for you to create it? And I know you're doing so much more. We can't wait to hear more about that. But where did this all come from?
Well, back in the '90s, I began an internet marketing company because I was very, into technology and saw the marketing vehicle that the internet was going to become. So I started an internet marketing company back then. And then life happened, but coming full circle, once I became an empty nester and met Eric, I was able to take a look at what was happening and said, "Hey, what if we make this hobby pay for itself? I can set up the website and the e-commerce, and we can start vending and see if we can't make a go of this because we were having such joy connecting with people who wanted the hearts and the signs." So I created the website. We started vending. Of course, in 2020, the um, the shutdown occurred, so our vending was at farmers markets, which were deemed essential and outdoors. So we were grateful that we had that to build on, as well as the e-commerce that really took off, of course, because of the shutdown. Then when people started donating to us, like they weren't just buying signs and hearts, they were donating to us. Like, we want you to keep doing this. We want you to keep going. Um, that's when we realized, well, maybe we should start a nonprofit to be good stewards of the money. And then what are we going to do with the funds? At just about the same time, a friend's son asked Eric if he could paint his own sign. And the light bulb went off in his head and said, well, why can't we have all kids painting signs, you know? And as yoga instructors, I said, well, why don't we add the component of making it a workshop where we can teach kids how to navigate their energy and manage their energy and emotions and paint a tactile reminder as art therapy, which is the Be Kind sign. And that's when the nonprofit really took off because that was our first program, the Community of Kindness Workshop program. So, and I can show you, this is what a sign looks like unpainted. And then I have a few here I think the kids have painted, but this is one that I've painted. So
Oh,
yeah, some of the artwork that the kids create is amazing.
I bet it
And
is.
yeah, and we're grateful that, then Eric had the idea of, wanting to see the kid painted signs all up and down Main Street. That started our first fundraiser called the Kindness Stroll in the city of Westminster, where students painted the Be Kind signs and merchants put them in their windows in downtown Westminster. And they used QR codes. The public would use QR codes to vote for their favorite, $1 a vote to raise funds.
What a great
That
idea,
that
Tina.
fundraising idea to be able to showcase the kids' art helped fund the first, pilot program for an entire 6th grade at a middle school to go through the workshop. And we have, a psychologist helped inform our workshop, curriculum. So, and it was something that we could help, as a leave behind for the teachers on how to bring longevity to the message, besides the fact that they painted a tactile reminder and they could keep it. And now we just had our 3rd annual Kindness Stroll this past year, and now we're able to complete the workshop for 2 entire 6th grades.
That is just amazing. And it's so interesting when I talk to other women, small business women, when they start out, they came from the corporate world or they were working for a mom and pop. And then they just got this light bulb that they had an idea. You were in the marketing technology. You saw that way back in the 90s. I'm thinking I was in college raising 3 kids. I didn't give any of that, I thought, back in the 90s. How fast forward thinking were you?
Well, I just really appreciated the cutting edge aspect of computers. Just it really jazzed me. It was like a puzzle to me. And so I'm grateful that computers took off because actually while I was taking time off from computers, raising a family, I kind of lost touch with what was going on. And boy,
Oh, sure.
quite a few things changed, but quite a few things stayed the same as well. So when I picked it back up, when I went to build the website for the project, for the Infinite Love project, uh, there was only a very short learning curve.
That's interesting because some people say when I got back into the technology arena, when I was off for a while, especially in marketing, because so much has changed by using like Canva and now like
Mhm.
AI. It was probably good timing on your part that you got back into it, leapt back into it when you did, because just so much, and I'm sure that you would agree, has occurred since 2020. It's just fast forward.
It has, and I appreciate the gig economy because that's really helpful. If there's something that I want to use, a tool or a software that I want to use, and I don't necessarily have the time to dive in to figure out how to use it,
All right.
I can go into the gig economy and hire somebody at a piece rate, and they can help me with setup and acclimate me so the learning curve's very, very short. And I appreciate that aspect of what happened with the shutdown and exploding that economy.
And it's hard to, for small business people or a nonprofit, just taking off like Be Kind. Um, it's really, really hard to hire somebody,
Mhm,
because you may have a project that you would need somebody on, and you talk about the gig economy, hiring people that have the technical skills that you may be able to learn. But if you can hire someone, and I understand there's people out there who can work relatively inexpensively
mhm.
on projects that can pivot and recreate something, help you with something that perhaps you didn't even know existed. And I have a digital operations specialist at Wow, Trisha Soderstrom. And we met. She was a virtual assistant in the beginning, just doing basic technology and so forth. She had done podcasts, she had had many different experiences. And then as Wow grew, Trisha grew. And she became proficient in a lot of different skill sets, and she honed in on some in particular to help me at Wow, as well as some of our other clients that were very beneficial. So we all need help. We need that additional help so we can focus on the mission, focus on the projects that we have before us, especially
Exactly.
building signs. I'm sure that takes some time.
It does. There's a whole production aspect to what we do. But that is a great segue to speaking to why the WOW network is so wonderful because it's not just about, meeting people who could be potential clients, but there's also people who could be potential collaborators, especially when you're at the
Oh,
professional
goodness.
level that a lot of us are, with our own businesses or with a a gig that they're trying to launch, where we can validate, who needs what services and talk at that level and help each other out.
Thank you for that. I am so glad that you appreciate WOW as much as we appreciate women business owners
Mhm.
and people that are stepping out of the norm, if you will. And we've learned through AI a lot, and this was going to happen even before AI was on our tongues, that we were moving with technology at such a rapid pace that it was expected maybe about 15 years ago by 2030, we would eliminate about 25% of the workforce
Mhm.
occupations. And I think that accelerated. And COVID, I hate even using that word anymore, don't you?
That's why I say the shutdown.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I need to do the same thing. But through the shutdown, we learned we can work from home. We can still function, but it's not that we're going to stand still. And we found ways and reaching out to other people, especially through our networking And through the groups for our monthly WOW virtual meetings, we found ways to find other people to help us and realize that, you know what? These things are here. They're here to stay. They're for us to either learn or hire somebody to help us so we can continue in the path that we have chosen. And
Mhm.
that's what I like so much about these new AI products, even Canva. Canva to me is so cool because I
Mhm.
can pick a template and put that together. I'm sure that you could do that for your Be Kind. I'm sure you have software that you use or apps that you use as well.
Yes, we do, because I do a lot of, mock-ups for people who want custom signs. So
That's
sometimes I'll
interesting.
use Boxy SVG, sometimes I'll use Canva, just depends on what they're looking for.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure there's people that are going to watch this. They're going to want to know what are the tips and tricks. And those are the kind of things that we do here at WOW when we have people like yourself as guests come on and talk to us about what they do. How did they get here?
Right.
Where did they come from? What were they doing before? And also, where do you think Be Kind is heading? I mean, do you feel that this is going in a different direction? Are you taking some different twists for 2026?
Actually, it's growing. We're grateful that we've been around for almost 7 years now, and we're just starting to put together ad campaigns. We've never advertised before, and the only reason we're doing that is because the socials are so siloing that we wanna make sure that we cut across the clutter to let people know where we are, and how they can get a Be Kind sign or get a infinite love hearts or a shirt because we have an apparel line and let them know that it is available. So many people, biggest feedback we get is, oh, we didn't know you were selling online. We didn't know that it
Oh,
was available.
and that's
So
any business, whether you have a brick and mortar or
Mhm.
you're a service or otherwise, or nonprofit. You use the word siloing, and I think some of our viewers are probably scratching their head and saying, what does that mean? Could you explain that to us?
It means that, for the most part, the algorithms, the programming that the social media uses will continue to feed to you what you say you like. So it'll create a bubble of reality for you in the online world. And we call that siloing because the rest of the outline, the rest of the world, the rest of reality of what somebody else might like or think or have interest in is something that you may never see only because of the way the algorithm reads what you like. So it's a very unbalanced view of reality and what people are thinking out there. Now, of course, sometimes the news will help you with some perspective on what's happening out there, but even that sadly has been skewed in this day and age. So we're
Oh,
all
100%.
there's some jockeying that has to happen with, the rules, regulations between government and technology and the free market system, which is having an issue. Uh, but that's what siloing is. It's segmenting and fragmenting, society in a technological way.
And I appreciate you explaining that and so that we can better understand it. We all know that business is changing. We knew that it would be changing, or at least some of us knew. We knew the occupation would change. We're seeing a lot of small businesses creep up there and they're growing. Applications are up for licensing across the country
Mhm.
in the local jurisdictions. People are coming out of college and realizing, I got this degree in social work, but there's really nothing I can do with it or history or something. And then counseling, whatever it happens to be. So they're starting to look at the entrepreneur method or process for them to go out on their own and
Mhm.
finding there's ways they can make money, much like way back when we had people come to this country, they ended up creating their own little shops and they created their own little business. It's almost like we're going back in time, but not, where we're creating our own businesses and working from home again, which is an interesting facet.
It is, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, that is being built, throughout the country is very fascinating. As a matter of fact, I'm part of the 1 Million Cups community, which is an entrepreneurial ecosystem built out of the Kauffman Foundation. And that that plus there's EcoMap, who started out of Baltimore, who's building has ecosystem software that's utilized primarily by large institutions and corporations, but it's a recognition of the fact that there are so many entrepreneurs out there, that there's an entire set of protocols and cultures and effects that result from that. TEDCO is the technology corporation out of the state of Maryland, that is solely built just to support entrepreneurs at different stages. There, it's amazing how much, at least in the state of Maryland, how much opportunity we have here and how much support has been built around that to help entrepreneurs and business owners get to the next level and learn what they might not need to know to get to the next level. So
And it's
it's really
interesting
exciting to be
because
here in Maryland.
yeah, small business is definitely thriving, and it's not a bad idea to go to our local jurisdictions wherever people happen to be and take a look at what is required to start a business. Can you do it in your home, for instance? What is required? Is there special licensing? So these are all the kind of things. And in your situation, you've rented a space, correct?
With the nonprofit, we were able to get a space in the Carroll Nonprofit Center. So we're grateful for
Excellent.
that. It's at a reduced rate because we are a nonprofit. So we're thankful for that. The Infinite Love Project, it is still an home based office. It just didn't make sense yet to, yeah.
Exactly. I can appreciate that. So I have a question for you, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this, what you've been talking about today is fascinating. From where you started, the different lines of business that you came from, what it took to get you here. If
Mhm.
someone wants to reach you, Tina, what is it that is the best? I always say to our ladies of wow, how do you want them to get in touch with you?
Mhm. Well, there's a couple ways they can do that. They can go to the nonprofit website, actionforkindness.org, and send us a message there. The message goes straight to my email, and I'll be happy to answer. Also, the same with infiniteloveproject.com, or easier to remember is bekindsign.com. They are both really the same website, and there's a contact us there, and you can contact me that way as well.
I always talk about you as Tina Miller, Tina Miller of Be Kind. And I just think that's kind of like a great segue into what you're doing as well. Well, thank you so much for joining me here and explaining what you do and talking to our listeners that are coming on to the WOW YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And please look at our WOW website at wowwomenus.com. I'm Barbara E. Ringrose, founder. Thank you for joining us here today, and we look forward to your comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. Stay well.
Thank you, Barbara.